We're moving on to the next story about Lord Jacob Rothschild. Now, Lord Jacob Rothschild was a financier. He actually just died at age 87. But that's not the big part about this story. We need to dive into a little bit about the Rothschild and who they are in reference to the state of Israel. So it says, Lord Jacob Rothschild, financier, dies age 37. Oh, this is him. Sorry. That's him. It says, in a statement on Monday, his family called Lord Rothschild a towering presence in many people's lives. His career began at the family bank, N.M. Rothschild and Sons, before starting his own wealth management fund. He was also known for his philanthropy. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair paid tribute to his dear friend, describing him as a wonderful human being. This is interesting. Born in Berkshire in 1936, Lord Rothschild was educated at Eton College and went on to study history at Christ Church, Oxford. He joined the family bank in 1963, but left in 1980 after a falling out with his cousin, Sir Evelyn D. Rothschild. He went on to build his own financial empire in the city of London, founding investment trust RIT Capital, which he chaired until 2019. The Rothschild family has an estimated fortune of about 825 million pounds, according to last year's Sunday Times Rich List. I believe that should be about 1 billion in US dollars. Lord Rothschild was described as a superbly accomplished financier, a champion of the arts and culture, a devoted public servant, a passionate supporter of charitable causes in Israel and Jewish culture, a keen environmentalist, and much loved friend, father, and grandfather, in a statement released by his family. Lord Rothschild also held roles including deputy chairman at Sky B Television, director of RHJ International, now known as BHF Kleinwort Benson Group, and was a member of the council for the Duchy of Cornwall for the then Prince of Wales. So we need to show something about the Rothschilds, okay? Because they were more than just financiers. I mean, the whole damn family. I want you to hear about the Rothschild family in reference to the creation of the state of Israel. Let's take a look at this.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Pause. Everyone take a look at this letter. This letter was written November 2nd of 1917. This is the letter that declares a Jewish state and Zionism. Now, this is prior to World War II. So when people say that the Zionist state was created because of World War II, or that Zionism was created because of World War II, this was already decided upon prior to World War II. This is 1917. So this is the Balfour Declaration.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was, after all, in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed.
Okay. Did everybody hear that? He's telling you, this is Jacob Rothschild. This is the one who just passed away. He's telling you the movement started in Eastern Europe.
And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here. And I wonder if I could possibly ask you to read it for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm going to put on my spectacles to make sure I read it accurately. His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country.
Pause for a second. So you see what has happened, right? This piece right here, it says, nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. So you see this? Obviously, this part right here was not upheld. The non-Jewish communities.
Country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours, Arthur Balfour.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years to get to this. And then you say, how did this miracle happen? It's the most incredible piece of opportunism. I mean, if you think you had an impoverished would-be scientist, Chaim Weizmann, who somehow gets to England, meets a few people, including members of my family, seduces them. He has such great charm and conviction. He gets to Balfour, and he unbelievably persuades Balfour and Lloyd George, the Prime Minister, and most of the ministers, that this idea of the national home for Jews should be allowed to take place. I mean, it's so unlikely.
You hear this, right? And his voice just cracks me up, by the way. Oh, this home is unlikely, right? So see how all the effort that was willing, by the way, just think about the time, 1917. Okay. See what they were willing to do for Jewish people. See what they were willing to do, right? 1917. And what was still happening to descendants of slavery in the United States? 1917, right? Nobody ever went this far to create a place where descendants of slavery could feel safe. Nobody. No one. Never forget that.
And then he's, starts to fight a difficult battle with the British cabinet, and this letter goes through 5 drafts, as you know. And in the end, it comes out as a rather compromising letter. I mean, the essential point is there for the Jewish community to fasten on to. You have the first bit, which promises a national home rather than the national home.
You see this? First part promises a national home.
And then you have the bit that nothing that's to be done should in any way harm the Arab community. But this is important. Nothing should be done to harm, he said, the Arab community. But the language here is non-Jewish communities. So obviously that part of the bargain was not upheld. You see this? You come back to the big point, which is that this is perhaps the greatest event in Jewish life for thousands of years. And it's a miracle.
They started this. Okay? They started this. In fact, believe it or not everyone that was a part of the Rothschild family actually agreed with Zionism. Now, here's the piece you may not be aware of. Jewish identity and positions on Zionism. Jewish solidarity in the family was not homogenous. Many Rothschilds were supporters of Zionism, while other members of the family opposed the creation of a Jewish state. In 1917, Walter Rothschild, second Baron Rothschild, was the addressee of the Balfour Declaration to the Zionist Federation, which committed the British government. Whoops, I think I went up too far. Oh, here we go. The British government to the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. His nephew, Victor, Lord Rothschild, was against granting asylum or helping Jewish refugees in 1938. So just listen to this, guys. This is going to show you not everybody in the family was on board with this. After the death of James Jacob D. Rothschild in 1868, his eldest son, Alphonse Rothschild, took over the management of the family bank and was the most active in support for Eretz Israel. The Rothschild family archives show that during the 1870s, the family contributed nearly 500,000 francs per year on behalf of Eastern Jewry to the Alliance Israelite Universale. So I wanted you to see this because I wanted you to understand that it wasn't everybody, but obviously the loudest voices were heard. Now, check this out. It says here, they bring up Netanyahu. Interviewed by Haaretz in 2010, Baron Benjamin Rothschild, who was a Swiss-based member of the banking family, said he supported the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. I understand that it is a complicated business. See the language? What I tell you, still using the word complicated. I told you it's not, mainly because of the fanatics and extremists, and I'm talking about both sides. I think you have fanatics in Israel. In general, I am not in contact with the politicians. I spoke once with Netanyahu. I met once with an Israeli finance minister, but the less I mingle with the politicians, the better I feel. There are places in Israel named after Rothschild family members. So you can see this, Zikron, Yaakov, a town founded in 1882 and named after benefactor's father, James Jacob Mayer D. Rothschild. So they even have towns there named after family members. Isn't that something? So I wanted you to see that because I wanted you to see what these people are really about. That's who started all of this. That's where all this comes from. The creation of it and everything. Look at what they started.